Hello, welcome to Learn English with Football World Cup Special, a show in which I talk to my friends and football fans about the World Cup 2022 in Qatar. Stay tuned until the end because that's when I go through useful vocabulary um, from this interview. My guest today is Ben, and you might know him from the YouTube channel called To the Point English with Ben. Hi, Ben. How are you?
Hi, Zdenek. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks. It's
Good.
good to have you here.
It's nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Anytime, Ben. And let's get straight into it. So, this is the first question. Are you excited about this World Cup?
Um, yes, probably less than any other World Cup, but I think that's for a couple of reasons. I think partly it's my age. As I get older, I'm less interested in international football for some reason. As you know, I'm a West Ham fan, so I'm always excited about West Ham, and when West Ham play, I try and watch all their matches. But I don't know, international football. I always watch England and Spain because I live in Spain and I am English. Um, but the other reason this World Cup is a little bit tainted, isn't it? I mean, with it being in Qatar and the sort of everybody knows the human rights issues and the attitudes in that culture, in that country, I should say. But also the time of the year. It's sort of in November. It's not really the time to have a World Cup. It's World Cups are in the summer. It's when people are on holiday. It's a different kind of mindset or a different attitude when you're in the summer. In the northern hemisphere, at least, we're going into the winter, and
Yeah.
I'm excited, but less excited than any other World Cup, I think.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. There are some issues, and I'm going to
Hmm.
definitely address them in these interviews
Hmm.
at some point. So, I wanted to ask you, Ben, what's your earliest World Cup memory?
Um, I don't know if it's a memory or memory of what people have told me, but apparently in the 1982 World Cup, it shows how old I am. I was 6 years old, and um, the top scorer was an Italian called Rossi.
Huh?
Um, and apparently, I don't really remember watching the matches, but apparently, I was just shouting his name all the time, Rossi, Rossi. Um, but as I said, I kind of remember it, but I don't know if I remember people telling me about it that I was just a little kid shouting at the screen. Probably my first real memory, my clear memory of the World Cup, unfortunately, was 1986. And I say unfortunately because as an Englishman, an English football fan, it was the famous Argentina-England match where Diego Maradona scored two very memorable goals. One was perhaps the greatest goal of all time, or at least the greatest World Cup goal of all time, and the other one was a handball, very clear, the hand of God, as he called it.
Yeah.
We call it the hand of a cheat, but so yeah, it was not the greatest memories to start with, but yeah, I think that 1986, I was 10 years old, and that was when I was really starting to get into football. So yeah, and the first lessons of being disappointed with England, basically.
Mhm. Okay. So you have already told us why you think this World Cup will be a little bit different. So I'm going to
Mhm.
ask you about Messi and Ronaldo. These are
Okay.
obviously great players. But it was the last, let's say, 2 decades
Mhm.
were about Messi and Ronaldo. They were always the two best players, and everybody talked about these two players. But now it looks like these might be their last World Cups. But
Mm.
who knows? What do you think?
I think it probably. I mean, definitely Ronaldo. Ronaldo's a couple of years older, isn't he? And I think you can see he's not at the same level as he was. I mean, it's impossible. I mean, to maintain that level as you're approaching 40 years of age. Messi, I think Messi is 35 or 36. I'm not sure. So the next World
Yeah,
Cup
yeah.
will be in 3.5 years. So yeah, no, I think it's his last World Cup too. I mean, I'm a huge Messi fan. Um, I mean, Ronaldo. I respect Ronaldo. He's a fantastic player, but for me, Messi is the best of all time. He's the GOAT, and I think, yeah, unfortunately, I think we've been so lucky, as you said, over the last almost 20 years to see two of the best players in the history of football uh, playing at the same time, and for about 10 of those years, they were playing in the same league, in the Spanish league. So we saw them at least twice a year playing against each other.
Yeah.
So we're very lucky, but yeah, all good things come to an end. So yeah, I think this is probably the last World Cup for those greats, those legends.
Yeah, absolutely. They are legends, and they are the goats, as you said. I heard that Messi said that it would be his last World Cup, and I have also
Hmm.
recently the interview with Piers Morgan has come out, obviously, and
Hmm.
I think he asked him about that, and he said something along the lines of probably. So
Right.
I think Messi. I think for Ronaldo it is harder to come to terms with him not being the same Ronaldo. You know, he has his
Mm.
as we all know, his
Mm.
ego is very big,
Yeah.
and why wouldn't it be big if you are Ronaldo? You know, it's,
Yeah.
it's only
Fair
fair.
enough. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Um, but I think Messi is kind of more realistic here, and he's
Mhm.
the younger of the two as well.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But I think he's a little bit less obsessed with like records and being remembered. I think he will. Ironically, he will be remembered. I think as the greatest of all time. But I think Ronaldo wants to break all the records, all these
Yep.
personal records. And I think he also. I think he's probably a bit inspired by Ibrahimovic, who's
Mhm.
still playing. I think in his
Yep.
40s. So maybe Ronaldo thinks if he keeps fit, keeps in shape, that he could still be playing. But I don't think. I think he's a different player to Ibrahimovic, and I think you can see it now at Manchester United. He's not at the same level. Of course, it's normal as he was like 2 or 3 years ago. So, but who knows? Who knows?
Well, there's this interesting dynamic surrounding Ronaldo now because
Mm,
obviously I've mentioned the interview, and after this, he is
hmm.
getting sacked from Manchester United. They want to take a legal action against him, and
Yeah.
they are going to fine him for sure. So it's a big deal now, and this is a really important moment in Ronaldo's career because
Hmm.
the question number one is, can he focus on the national team? Can he give his best for
Hmm.
his national team, or is this going to be actually harmful to the atmosphere in the dressing room? And how is this going to affect the performance of the likes of Bruno Fernandes and so on, who is
Hmm.
his team? He's still his teammate at Manchester United. You know,
Yeah.
so those are the
But I think,
questions I'm asking myself. And then
yeah,
also, where's he going to go next?
yeah. I mean, who can afford him, and who wants to pay that much money for a player on his way out? But yeah, I think we saw the. I don't know if you saw the video of the kind of frosty reception from Bruno Fernandes with Ronaldo in the changing rooms, the Portuguese changing rooms. He didn't look particularly happy to see him, and maybe we're reading too much into it. But
Well,
I think. Sorry, go on. Yeah.
yeah, about that. One
Hmm.
day later, Bruno Fernandes spoke and he kind of denied it. He said that it had been taken out of context and that it was played without sound as well. And apparently he was making a joke. Who knows, you know? Who knows? Maybe
Uh,
that he was
okay.
told to say that, right? We don't know. But who knows
Yeah.
what's going on there?
Yeah, they want to present an image of harmony and that everyone's happy together. But yeah, we don't know. We can't speculate, but well, we can speculate, but we don't know. So, but I think Ronaldo will be fine. I think he's very professional in that way. I think he'll be very, and I think he likes playing for Portugal because it's like it's a bit a distraction, or it's less, with his countrymen, and playing for Portugal. It's different to playing in a different country with people he doesn't perhaps know so well. So I think he'll be very focused and he'll play well. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he'll play it every second of every match because he's getting on a bit, as I said. So we'll see.
Well, we'll see what happens, but it will be one of the things to watch for sure. One of the
Yes,
things to
definitely.
watch out for as well. So, as we know, Ben, you are an Englishman living in Spain. So I'm going to ask you
Hmm.
about these two teams, England and Spain. So who do you think has a better chance? Which of these two teams has a better chance of winning the World Cup, England or Spain?
It's a very tricky question because I don't think either of them really have a chance. But I think probably I would say at the moment England. I mean,
Hmm.
Spain are looking good. They've got a good young team, and I think that in a couple of years they're going to be challenging for titles. I think England just have a slightly older team. I'm really worried about England's defence. It's very dodgy.
Yeah.
Going forward, we have a lot of options, especially in the attacking midfield. We have some world class players, but in the
Hmm.
defence and in goal, I think it's a bit dodgy. So I don't know. It really is a tough one, but I think probably England just, but as I said, I don't think either of them have much of a chance this year. But
Yeah.
in 2 or 3 years, well, in the next World Cup, 3.5 years.
I tend to agree with you. I would say exactly the same. Your
Hmm.
your reason, your um, justification is also valid. So absolutely. But so since we don't think these two teams are going to win it, or neither of these two teams can win it, who's your
Hmm.
money on then?
I, I'm not a betting man because I'm pretty pessimistic. I'm just sure I'll be throwing my money away. I'm not very lucky. So, but if I were to bet on someone, I think, and maybe this is my heart over my head, because obviously I'd prefer England to win and then Spain. If not England, Spain. But if not England and if not Spain, and I think they have more of a really realistic chance, I would say Argentina.
Yeah.
And I say Argentina because I think they can. I think they have a very good team. Although I don't know every player in every position, but also for Messi. As I said, I'm a huge Messi fan, and I would love to see Messi lifting the World Cup. I think it would, shut up all these people who have been doubting him and saying he's not,
Yeah.
he can't be considered the greatest until he wins a World Cup. I think that's rubbish. I think you can't expect a player to win the World Cup on his own, and I think he almost did a few years ago, like I think the last one. But so yeah, I think it would just be a perfect end to Messi's career, and I think he would then be considered the greatest of all time. So yeah, I think I would say Argentina, but Brazil apparently are looking good. France have a few injuries, so I think that they're going to find it difficult.
Hmm.
I mean, there are always surprises in the World Cups, aren't they? Especially playing in this a different time of year, a different continent to usual, different country, different. It's such a different World Cup. It's very
Yeah.
difficult to predict. But yeah, I'm going for Argentina. And you?
My money is on Brazil. So that's what most
Right.
people say. That's what the experts say. Literally, my
Yeah.
money is on Brazil, about €4 or something like that.
Okay. Well, uh,
I did
better
bet
than
on.
nothing.
I did make a
Yeah.
bet, and
Hmm.
I just know that those players from Arsenal, like there's Martinelli, and a lot of players play in the Premier League, and also I remember watching the Argentina Brazil um, final of the South American Championship, and I thought
Hmm.
Brazil were the better team.
Hmm.
Argentina won it,
Yeah.
the last one, right? Argentina won it,
Right.
but I
Yeah.
thought
Yeah.
Brazil were the better team. That's what I thought. So
Right. I didn't see it, but yeah, it's interesting
there
you
will
say
be,
that. It's
yeah, there'll be a lot of pressure on Messi as well, right? It's his last World Cup, as we all know. Brazil, I think, has more balanced team, in my opinion,
hmm.
um, and just a lot of quality. But it's also
Hmm.
sometimes it's down to how can all these stars, or how can all these stars function as a unit, right? So that's
Hmm.
sometimes a problem in France, in the French team. We don't know what's going to happen with Mbappe, right? He's
Yeah,
literally running PSG these days. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, yeah, I think France have a fantastic team. Even I think Kante is injured, Pogba is injured,
yeah.
and a couple of others, and they're really important. Well, Kante, I think, is such an important player, but yeah, they have some great attacking players still. There is a one of their strikers got injured, didn't they? But
Yeah.
but I think they're a really strong team, and you can't rule out Germany, Italy, those teams that just know how to win. Oh no,
Well, Italy,
Italy didn't
Italy,
qualify, did it? No, no.
Italy didn't qualify, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. So I think we can rule out
Honorable
Italy then.
mention, honorable mention to Italy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that my money is not on Italy then.
I've made
as
I've
well.
made I've made
Um,
this mistake a few times already while talking in my shows, Ben. To mention
right.
Italy as one of
Yeah.
mentioning Italy as one of the favorites, but not this time. Well, thank
Right.
you very much, Ben, for
It's,
featuring in this interview. It's been a pleasure to have you here, and good
yeah.
luck to
Thank
your
you.
team. Good luck to England. And good luck to Spain as well.
Thank you. Thank
And
you very much. Yeah.
yeah, take
Is the
care.
is the Czech Republic in it? I know shows my ignorance, but the Czech Republic didn't qualify, right? Okay. Well,
Unfortunately, not. That would be my team. So unfortunately, not.
of course. No, and for me, I will be supporting the Czech Republic too because there's some West Ham players in the national team, I think. So yeah. Well, next time.
Well, you can watch tonight's friendly against Turkey if you're so
All
much
right.
if you're so
Okay.
interested in the Czech Republic team. But I doubt you will do that.
I doubt I will. There's a lot of football to be watched in this house over the next few weeks, so probably I
Exactly.
wouldn't be allowed
Probably
to watch that one.
probably not the best match to pick either. Okay, thank you very
No.
much, Ben, and until
Okay.
next time. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you.
Bye.
Bye. And now is the time to look at some language from this interview. All right, so this is the part of the show where I go through interesting vocabulary from the interview you have just watched, and I will usually select between 3 to 5 items of vocabulary, interesting idioms, phrasal verbs, any interesting words that I think are worth clarifying. So pay attention. And also, once I give you the examples from the interview, what you could do is use it in the comments to practice. Okay, so without further ado, let's get cracking. So the first, I'm reading some notes here. So the first thing that I would like to talk about is when Ben mentioned his earliest memories of watching the World Cup, and he said, unfortunately, it was the year 1986, and the famous match between Argentina and England, where Diego Maradona scored two very memorable goals. So I'm looking at the adjective memorable here. If some goals are memorable, they are likely to be remembered, or they were remembered, or they are still remembered, or they are simply worth remembering. You should remember them because they were unique, they were excellent, they were that it was something that is easy to remember, memorable. Okay. Now, regarding the pronunciation of this adjective, the first syllable is stressed, so memorable. Also, notice that sometimes British people pronounce it only as 3 syllables, memorable, memorable, rather than saying memorable. They say just memorable. You can talk about memorable goals, memorable matches, memorable performances, um, any of that kind. You can talk about a memorable World Cup as well. Let's hope this World Cup in Qatar will be memorable for the right reasons. Okay, here's another one. We were talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, and Ben said, I don't know if you saw the video with a kind of frosty reception from Bruno Fernandes with Ronaldo in the changing room. And I'm looking at the expression frosty reception, which is a really cool one. So first of all, uh, if we're talking about reception here, the word reception has more meanings, but here it has the meaning of welcome. It gave us the impression that they were sort of meeting up for their, let's say, first training in Qatar or something like that. And they were welcoming each other in the dressing room, right? And if you talk about frosty reception, it's like cold and unfriendly. Frosty, comes from the word frost. Yeah, so it's something you get in winter when the ground freezes, like you can see frost everywhere, like it's kind of white stuff on the ground, right? So a frosty reception is cold, unfriendly, not very friendly. So this is an interesting word. You can also give, for example, someone a frosty look. So if you don't like someone, you can look at them in an unfriendly way. Okay, so that's frosty reception. Now, also, this is a common expression in football. We were talking about Ronaldo again, and Ben was speculating how many minutes he thinks Ronaldo will get in the World Cup. He was a bit skeptical. He said, "I don't know if he will play every second of every match." And as we know, he's getting on a bit. We'll see. He's getting on a bit. So if you get on a bit, if you are getting on a bit, usually it's used with the progressive form, with the continuous form. It means that you are getting old. You're getting old for, in this case, for that sport that you're playing. You're getting on a bit. Yeah, you're not the youngest person anymore. You're not uh, the young person you once used to be. So that's that. The last one I would like to look at here is Ben was talking about the England national team, and we were talking about Ben was sort of referring to what sort of team they have and if he thinks they have a good chance of winning the tournament. And he said that they have some world class players, but in the goal and defense, it's a bit dodgy. So here we are looking at the adjective dodgy, which is it's a colloquial adjective. It's kind of slang. It's a slang, and we use this to describe something a bit suspicious, a bit something that you can't fully trust. So if you say that in the goal and defense, it's a bit dodgy, what Ben means is that he doesn't trust Harry Maguire and Jordan Pickford in the goal. He thinks there are mistakes in them. He thinks maybe it's England's weakness. Okay, so what about your team? Is your team in the World Cup? Is your team's defense a bit dodgy? Why not let me know in the comments? This is something I would like to encourage you to do because it's your way to practice this vocabulary, as I said. So that's all from me. If you have enjoyed this video and this language corner bit at the end, please give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.